So today's topic is about the MBA. Well, it's about the traps that come with it, but for those currently preparing for an MBA or thinking about pursuing one in the future. Since you need to invest in yourself, you want to succeed and get a big return. But on the other hand, there are also people who hesitate because they are worried that they won't get a return, even if they go to an MBA for a short time. So, we get a lot of inquiries about MBA at Alpha. Well, at Alpha, we come to you and support you with MBA, and some of you even start your own business. When it comes to finding a job, there are many people who have recently gone straight into finance or finance in the US and received offers of $200,000 or $300,000. On the other hand, there are also people who went to MBA programs but somehow didn't end up with the career they had hoped for. Also, I've received inquiries from people who really wanted to work for foreign firms or funds, but unfortunately that hasn't happened for them after going for their MBA. There are also those who pursued domestic or online MBAs in Japan, but aren't seeing the returns they expected. Today, I want to emphasize the importance of preparing with Alpha to avoid such situations. I would like to tell you some things to avoid. So I hope that you make sure you prepare properly, so that you don't fall into any of these pitfalls and that you can grasp the key points. All right, so today I'd like to have a conversation with TJ, the representative of Alpha, and myself, Sakashita. Mr. Mitya went to Goldman Sachs after his MBA at Chicago booth and then started Alpha, which is now in its 17th year. I went to Columbia University's Graduate School of Education after a career in healthcare, and now I'm at Alpha Academy. Yes, we also support MBA, ZIMA, GR, and TOEFL. Well, you can do that for 99 nanes. Well, I hope you'll prepare well for the test at the Academy. First, I want to talk about the initial point. Specifically, I'd like to discuss the common pitfalls that can lead to lower returns from an MBA, which can prevent things from going as expected. Now, I'll pass it over to TJ.
Yes, thank you. We've been getting a lot of inquiries from around the globe asking if it's still possible to enroll for this September. Also, regarding this year's openings, especially for the first round and second round in the fall. There are many people who are aiming for top MBA schools, as well as top schools in computer science and data science. Today's point is about the anxieties that many of you have. The investment in an MBA is quite significant. And in today's world, with advancements in AI and, for example, with the upcoming Trump re-election and various movements happening, one might wonder if investing so much in an MBA will actually yield returns. And what if those returns don't come? That's a real concern. I genuinely want to pursue an MBA, but we've been receiving a lot of consultations from people who have some anxiety about this. As Emmy mentioned earlier, it's true that we receive inquiries from people who went for an MBA but didn't end up landing good jobs. At Alpha, we provide comprehensive support for our students, starting from the application process for MBA programs all the way through to job search assistance after they enroll. There's no doubt about that. It's the best in the world. Well, I think it's the only one. It's the only and only one, and it provides the best support. Those Alpha students are all now. So the return on investment from an MBA is maximized, but not everyone receives support from Alpha. So for those who choose their own school or do their own job hunting, the fact is that many people come to us for advice about not being able to get a good job after their MBA, and we wonder why this happens. By discussing this, I hope you can recognize where your anxieties stem from and understand that these are the pitfalls causing you to struggle. This awareness might help alleviate some of the fears associated with taking on the MBA challenge. In that sense, I want to share openly what we see. So, the first point is that many people make mistakes in their school selection. One common mistake is choosing a school based solely on rankings. Well, the warning is that it's cheap and good. Also, your friends or your seniors at work are going there. That's why many people make the mistake. Recently, for example, Harvard Business School is like that There was a news report that about 1/3 of students had not found employment, but that is because there are people who cannot read the trends of the times. So Harvard, Kellogg, UCLA, and other schools such as INSEAD are mostly tech consulting schools. Yes, even schools that are not very strong in computer science and data science have good rankings. So that's why they end up going to places like that. And as a result, they have trouble finding employment. And that's just the way things are these days. The first thing is that if you go into AI, tech, or finance, you have to read the times. Otherwise, you won't get a good return. So the second thing is, when I went to Chicago for my MBA, there were quite a few people around me, but there are still people who don't prepare properly for job hunting and job hunting. But it's a pretty competitive world, and everyone is. Getting into firms like Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, McKinsey, or Google is competitive, so preparation is key. At Alpha, we offer support for entering these top companies backed by 20 years of experience. We guide you on how to get into Google, BlackRock, or Goldman Sachs with our strategies. For McKinsey, we help you prepare. We start discussing strategies once you join the MBA program, ensuring you're ready for these opportunities. Networking is crucial, especially in the US and UK. Just getting into an MBA program doesn't guarantee success. This kind of thinking can lead to. If you want to get into McKinsey or BCG, we'll discuss the preparations you need to make right after you get accepted into the MBA program. We start talking about these things the moment you receive your acceptance. Moreover, we help you prepare for that. Networking is crucial, especially in places like the US and the UK, where connections can make all the difference. This leads me to my third point. Just because you got into an MBA program doesn't mean you'll automatically succeed. If you assume that simply getting into an MBA will guarantee your success, you might be overly optimistic. If you get too caught up in that mindset, you can become overly optimistic. This can lead to, well, if you lose that competition, you lose the competition between MBAs. So the Alpha students go to various schools around the world, to schools in America, Europe, and Asia. And the reason they all do so well in their job hunting is because they win that competition. The real challenge is what happens after you get there. So, of course, it's important to get accepted, but how much you can do after you get accepted is also important. It's crucial to be able to succeed in your job search, right? So, you need to start early, really early, by gaining thorough knowledge about the industry you're aiming for, preparing for those tricky interviews, case studies, and crafting strong cover letters. And then there's networking. Especially in the US, references are incredibly important, so you should start building those references. The moment you get accepted, or, for example, that technical interview. That kind of practice is almost done before you enter, before you enroll. However, most people don't do that. Of course, that makes a difference. So if you're worried about job hunting when you go to MBA, start early with the right strategy. This is the key to winning by far. On the flip side, those who go to MBA programs often become complacent and let their guard down. Surprisingly, those who follow our guidance and do what we recommend tend to excel. Many of them end up working in the US and doing very well. So there's really no need to worry too much. If you follow our advice, you'll likely find great success.
Yes, as Izumi mentioned, I'd like to talk about 3 key points regarding why people often fall into a lack of preparation.
That's right. When you look closely, one key point is that long-term goals are very vague, so that, in the world of MBAs, if you are reasonably good, it is quite possible to get in with a reasonable essay. So, if you just go in with a loose long-term goal, or a fairly vague career vision for that MBA, then the moment you enter MBA, you're competing to secure a summer internship. Then, of course, you're going to be asked, why did you come to the MBA program, or why did you choose that school? And of course, if you're going to an investment bank, you're going to an investment bank. It's in line with that. For example, variations such as asset management and investment pitches with hedge funds recently are quite detailed. In interviews, you'll be asked about your vision and long-term goals. If you come into the MBA program with a vague idea of what you want to achieve, it becomes really challenging during the job search. You'll be facing highly professional interviewers who are there to assess you. In MBA interviews, current students, alumni, or admissions staff often conduct the interviews. It's quite relaxed in a way. It's tough, but it's also laid back. For example, interviewers from firms like Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, McKinsey, Google, and Microsoft are seasoned veterans. You can't fool them with vague long-term goals or career visions. So, the third one, ignoring real market career insight, is something that you can't win at with just superficial knowledge. So if it's marketing, it's marketing. If it's M&A, if it's investment, if it's AI, you have to be very knowledgeable about it. You have to study it yourself, have discussions, and there are insights that you can't understand unless you're in business. And if you don't have that, people will think, oh, this person doesn't really want to do it. So that's it. All. Why? The reason this problem occurs is, this is the most important point. At Alpha, we ensure you understand everything thoroughly, Kui. We focus on defining long-term goals in a detailed way. It's crucial to have a solid long-term goal for job search success, especially in interviews with top companies. After 17 years at Alpha, I can tell you how crucial this is. On the contrary, I define the long term as thoroughly as possible, or rather, I continue to define it in an extremely specific way. The reason I do this is simply to write an essay for the immediate future, of course, for the immediate future, for passing the MBA. It is important for writing a super essay. Actually, it was after that. After that, as I said earlier, you can't win at those super companies unless you set a long-term goal that relies on interviews at super global top companies. We know that in job hunting. And when I joined Goldman Sachs, after graduating from the Chicago MBA, I was asked a lot of questions. So I have had that experience, and I've been at Alpha for 17 years now. So, well, there are already 100,000 people in the Alpha community alone. And now every year, just for the MBA, we've been supporting hundreds of people globally. What I think is that after you get the MBA and so on, it's obvious that if you can achieve the long-term goal properly, things will go well. So that's why you're working as thoroughly as you can at the very beginning. On the flip side, everyone is really struggling with this. When it comes to envisioning their goals 10 years down the line, it's tough to find a clear vision. It's something they probably haven't even thought about before. However, doing this will have a tremendous impact on your career. We want to make your future bright, and your salaries could reach $200,000, $300,000, or even go beyond $1 million. That's why I really want you to thoroughly establish your long-term goals at Alpha. Even if your goals are somewhat vague, you might still get accepted. Highly capable people often struggle afterward, especially during their job search. This is the most important point. So, this is the pitfall. It's a trap, and I hope you can avoid falling into it.
Yes. As Mr. Eju mentioned at Alpha, we really focus on building a solid long-term goal. We have a deep understanding of the schools and career paths, which allows us to guide you to the best outcomes. I've noted down 3 key points. This is somewhat the opposite of what we discussed earlier. The first point is that when choosing a school, your long-term goals should definitely be part of the decision-making process. Marai, so you choose a school that you like. At that time, Alpha is not an MBA company, so they look at the career aspect as well. So depending on the actual hiring process and what kind of people companies value, the actual evaluation of this school is generally like this. Of course, it depends on the individual, but we understand that. So if that's what you want to do, you should go to this school. That's what we're saying. At Alpha, we carefully select schools. Focus on entering the MBA program first. Job prep follows acceptance. Acceptance starts with tests, essays, and interviews. If your goals align, you'll be accepted. Schools want to know why you chose them and how your goals connect. Even without confidence in your background, clearly stating your goals and school choice can lead to acceptance. Once admitted, Alpha supports your career. Support starts upon acceptance, and everyone plans their next steps. Internships before studying abroad are common, and Alpha offers this. Opportunities exist to intern in new industries before going abroad, but spots fill quickly. If your long-term goals align well, you'll get accepted. Schools are not just looking for impressive backgrounds or intelligence. They really want to know why you chose their school and how your long-term goals connect to that. So even if you don't feel super confident about your background, if you can clearly articulate your long-term goals and explain why that school is the right fit for you in a compelling way, you can definitely get accepted. Additionally, regarding post-admission support, we provide career support right from the moment you get accepted. At Alpha, we start assisting you immediately after you receive your acceptance. Everyone is actively working on their next steps, and we offer opportunities for internships before studying abroad. I think Alpha is one of the few places that provides this kind of support. I don't want to say too much about it because the spots fill up quickly, but we do have options for internships in industries where you might not have prior experience before going abroad. We're doing various things. So I really want you to avoid falling into this trap. If you're going to invest in an MBA, you definitely want to see a return on that investment. I know there are people who are quite worried about their careers even after getting an MBA. And if you're one of those people, I hope you can keep today's 3 points in mind to avoid falling into such traps.
Yes. Also, I forgot to mention one more thing. Well, the career centers at universities such as MBA programs are almost useless. Well, I think it's better not to be too reluctant. Well, we are already functioning as a truly global career center, the strongest career center, so please rely on Alpha, that MBA, computer science, data science, well, anywhere. As for job hunting after you go, well, if you rely on Alpha, it will definitely work. Yes, so I think there are a lot of people who want to step up by going to various overseas graduate schools for their MBA or other fields, and who want to pursue what they really want to do. You don't really have to worry anymore. We're the ones who are. We will ensure everything goes smoothly from your application acceptance to your job search afterwards. So please feel free to consult with Alpha as soon as possible.